Welcome to Ghost Stories. Join me, your host, Arthur Q. Mansley, and my delightful intern, Beth.
Hello.
As we delve into the intricacies of ghouls, ghosts, goblins, and everything in between, discussing their maritime habits, their appendages, their medicinal qualities and qualifications.
What?
Beth, a small bit of advice for you: never use a cryptid as your general care doctor.
Have you been writing that down as your emergency contact?
Well, no, you are my emergency contact now, Beth, because of how flaky some of these cryptids can be.
Which one did you put?
It might have been a ghost. I didn't know he was restricted to the one area of his haunting. I thought he would be able to come to the county lockup and bail me out.
Okay. Well, now you learned.
That is a side note in today's topic of discussion.
Yeah, what are we talking about today?
Today, Beth, I decided we should journey to the west. We've been far too focused on the eastern coastline.
Yeah?
So today we are discussing the one and only Jackalope.
What?
The Jackalope.
So, like some sort of cantaloupe breed?
Oh, Beth, you disappoint me every day. In new ways.
What is a jackalope?
A jackalope is native to the Wyoming area.
Where's
Really,
Wyoming?
It's in the middle of nowhere, Beth. Really, the jackalope is the only interesting thing in the area.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're really into, like, dirt.
And sand?
Occasionally sand.
Okay.
A jackalope, Beth, is an amalgamation of two creatures. A jackrabbit and an antelope.
Oh, so it's not a cantaloupe.
More specifically, it's a North American pronghorn, but it is taxonomical.
So it's a, what? So look, how big is? What is it?
It is
What does it
approximately the size of an American jackrabbit,
Okay.
but upon its head are two magnificent antlers that protrude.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yes, that is the defining physical characteristic of a jackalope.
When were jackalopes first sighted in the United States?
Well, see, that is a very interesting question, because you are very specific. In the United States, which sightings of them, legends start around the 1800s, but the first captured specimen was in the 1930s.
Wait, so have they only been in the United States or have they been other places?
That is, there is another creature, very similar, but with one distinct difference. In Bavaria.
Where's Bavaria?
Europe somewhere. I don't care to look. But
Okay.
there is a creature. It is an amalgamation of a rabbit and a deer, and also like a bird or something. It's essentially a jackalope with wings, but they call it the Vulpatinger.
That's a fun name.
Isn't it?
Is it like a Pegasus versus like a unicorn kind of situation?
Oh, that's a very, very different thing. Whereas with Pegasi versus unicorns, unicorns possess innate magical abilities, and Pegasi possess the ability to fly. Correct.
Oh, okay.
Whereas a jackalope versus a Vulpatinger, the Vulpatinger has wings, and some say it is also venomous in some way.
Whoa.
And there are also reports of it having different tail styles. It is my professional opinion that a Vulpatinger is, while physically similar to a jackalope, it is more similar to a chimera of sorts.
Oh, so it might not be a direct relative to the United States jackalope.
Correct.
Even though, okay, yeah. Like evolved separately to look similar.
Specifically, yes.
Okay. But we were talking about the jackalope today, right?
Yes, the jackalope is our topic of discussion.
So it was spotted in the 1800s by whom, and then captured in the 1930s by whom?
It was spotted by pioneers traveling west. They reported seeing these hair-like creatures with growths upon their brow.
Oh, you mean hair as in H-A-R-E. Okay.
Yes. Assume throughout the duration of this episode that hair is referring to the rabbit. I just find rabbit to be
a harsh term.
Diminutive.
Oh.
A hare inspires some speed and prowess, whereas a rabbit is docile and squishy.
Okay, so they saw this hare.
Yes, sightings were reported, but nobody was able to capture one because they were immensely fast.
Oh, like how?
Ludicrously fast, Beth.
Okay.
Like, if we were to convert it to a modern day speed estimation system, it would be approximately 90 miles per hour.
90?
90 miles every hour.
That's faster than a lot of cars are allowed to drive.
It is a ludicrously fast creature, Beth.
And that's a lot faster than significantly faster than a rabbit.
Correct.
Which I understand the hare distinction now.
Mm.
As well, but also significantly faster than regular hares.
It is one of the fastest creatures on record.
So, they just saw it whizzing by in the pioneers?
They would be spotted grazing, but as soon as they felt themselves being seen, they fled.
Do they have a location they fled to, or was that
unknown?
Unknown,
unfortunately.
But then in the 1930s, how did someone capture a jackalope?
Right, there was a pair of brothers. They were hunters and taxidermists.
Did they have names?
Probably, Beth, but it is beyond me to recall that information.
Let's call them Jeff and Craig.
Jeff and Craig were two very real hunters and taxidermists in the 1930s. And they were out hunting. They were, of course, bagging hair. And they were bagging...
Of the regular sort.
Yes, and they were bagging North American pronghorns.
Of the bigger sort.
Correct. They bagged a bunch of hair, they bagged a bunch of pronghorns, they went through the taxidermy process. During this process, a hare corpse ended up on the ground, astride a pair of pronghorn antlers, and someone had an idea. Beth, are you following what I'm getting at?
Did they fake?
The first captured jackalope specimen was a fake, Beth.
No.
Yes, Beth.
That's rude.
It is very rude.
I don't like when that happens.
The amount of times I've been fooled by a taxidermist. Honestly, I should be ashamed. Yeah. Instead, I just have a very long list of taxidermists I no longer speak with.
Oh, okay. You block them on your contacts. And on, like, your cell phone record.
Well, it's more like the silent treatment, because I still require their services occasionally.
You can't... That's not...
There's not that many taxidermists, Beth. It's not a popular profession.
I know a couple of taxidermists who you probably could talk to. They're just underground. Not, like, actually dead, but, like...
I don't work with mole men, Beth.
Okay, well, then never mind. Cross that off, too. So... They were like... They had heard tales of the actual jackalope, and they're like, oh, let's make this a fake version and trick people that we caught it.
Correct. And they made a thriving business out of producing these jackalope fakes, mounted jackalope heads and such.
Oh, are those the ones that you see at, like, the gift shops now?
Correct. If you're in the Wyoming area, specifically around Douglas, you will see so many faked jackalopes, it is insulting to those of us in the profession.
Yeah. So has anyone caught a real jackalope? And how would you tell?
Well, there was another very not quite jackalope case. There are the common North American hare can contract a specific form of a papillomavirus, and then it develops into a condition called papillomatosis. Exactly, it's a real mouthful. But that causes... Inspector Gadget, me, Beth. You've thrown my train off track here.
Papillomavirus causes...
Papillomatosis and medulla oblongata. Whatever it is, this disorder, this virus, causes growths to appear. They are very horn-like in appearance, but they're very
Do they shatter?
harmful
Oh.
to the creature. It is rare for a hair infected with the papillomavirus to survive for any extended length of time once these tumors develop. But
So they it could look like two tumors.
correct. They do tend to grow around the mouth head area, so they can appear to be massive tusks or horns upon the creature. But it is in fact just a North American hare who is very ill.
And then you can tell that because they're not as quick.
You can tell that because of the way it is. Yes.
Also, they're probably sickly walking rather than zooming around.
Yes, they are significantly slower than 90 miles per hour. There is but one way to truly capture a jackalope, Beth.
Yeah, how? Did you do it? Wait, okay, tell me how, and then we'll get into it.
Well, it starts with, of course, a visit to your local library. Reading on past tales.
I thought you only went to the library once.
Well,
Were you lying to me?
I myself have only entered the library once. I had, at the time, assistants who would go and fetch things for me.
You're that scared of the library?
It's not so much scared as I am banned from many of them.
So you had, did you, pay kids to just, use their library card and get you, a book, and then...
Yes, usually it's the kids would pay me to go, pick up a pack of smokes or something. But I would say, instead I have a much better offer.
Oh, okay.
I will pick up your cigarettes.
No, that wasn't...
And you will go to the local library and acquire for me this tome of knowledge that I require.
So, let's just clarify right now that smoking is bad.
Well,
it's not good for your lungs.
Bad habit.
Bad habit, yeah. It's not good for your lungs. Also, it's not good for kids. Also, don't buy...
This was the 80s, Beth. It was much less frowned upon at the time. You could still smoke in McDonald's. It was great.
I don't know about that. But you don't buy cigarette packs for children anymore, right?
Oh no, they're old enough now to buy their own.
Okay. You don't buy them for any new kids, right?
Ah, of course not.
Okay.
I get all my money from TikTok now.
What, and you can just use people that, go and... You can use the library drop-off service now? What?
Well, nowadays I have you to assist me in my research.
Right. I forgot about that part. Yeah, because I'm not irrationally afraid of the library.
Irrationality has nothing to do with it, Beth.
And then you got a book. Who is it by?
It was an amalgamation of old Western folk tales.
Oh.
So it's not really an author as much as it was a compiler.
Oh, okay. So, do you get a lot of your information from folk tales because people assume that those tales are fake, but they actually have grains of truth in them?
Yes, this is the core of the profession of the paranormal cryptid interviewer scheme. You hunt through these tales and legends, trying to sift through the misinformation and the fake news to find the true mystery beneath.
How often does that, how often does that work? Because there's a lot of how do you determine what's real information or fake information?
It's a lot of just shots in the dark, Beth. You find a lead and you try to follow up on it to whatever extent that leads to. Sometimes it leads to another tome, another novel, another recountance of events.
Or it could lead you to a totally different cryptid that you weren't even planning on finding.
And that's always a shock, Beth. The amount of times I've interviewed a cryptid only to discover that it was just yet another lizard man. It's exasperating.
Yeah, we have whole novels of your interviews transcribed from the lizard men, and there's 10. They're not all the same person.
They're so good at disguising themselves, Beth. You can't blame me for being so easily fooled by them.
I mean, they're willing to chat you up. You've got a good rapport with them now, which is nice. But it's not really helpful when you're trying to find something else.
Nowadays, whenever I encounter another lizard man, it feels like they're belittling me.
Oh, they're tricking you on purpose and laughing at you.
Yes, it brings me some very harsh feelings towards myself and my capabilities.
Well, we can work on that. I don't think that
Yes,
you're
we
doing
really
a bad
should
job.
work on eliminating the lizard men.
Nope, that's not what I
What?
said. So then, how do you what did you find in the book to actually know how to catch a jackalope? What kind of leads did you find in the
Well,
folk
I
tales?
found a recounting of a classic Wild West jackalope hunt.
Mhm.
So the most important thing you require for a jackalope hunt is, of course,
Stealth.
barrels of whiskey. Just entire barrels of whiskey.
Oh.
They are very enticing to the jackalope.
Oh, I thought those were the hunters. Okay.
Well, it was the Wild West, so probably that too.
Okay.
So you would lay out just open barrels of whiskey. So the smell wafted through the air, the jackalope would smell it, and come zooming in at 90 miles per hour.
How did it stop? Is it very quick at stopping?
Oh, yeah, it was a very skilled creature at moving quickly and stopping without injury.
And or running into the barrels of whiskey.
But the jackalope would appear, it would consume the whiskey, and it would become so intoxicated that it would fall upon its back, belly up, snoring loudly.
So it would fall asleep. So then it
Yes.
couldn't run.
Yes.
And then what?
Well, then the hunters would attempt to pounce on the creature, but inevitably, because of their lack of stealth and the inevitable inebriation of themselves, they were clumsy at doing so, often arousing the creature, and it would flee. It would flee, not fled.
It would flee. Would it still be pretty darn fast, even though...
It would be pretty darn fast, but it is significantly hampered by the alcohol. But this is where it employs its other skill.
Which is?
Mimicry.
What?
Yes, that is right. The jackalope can mimic human speech.
Oh, speech. I thought maybe you were thinking like it would turn into a toad.
No, that's transmogrification, Beth.
Oh, I never got those terms
No
correct.
mimicry. While it was fleeing, it would call out in its cowboy voice, "It's over there!" Other lines of the sort.
What?
Yes, to throw them off the track.
It could, okay, not only mimic, like, okay, sure, like a baby crying. Like, sure, like that just sounds.
That would be bizarre.
But, I mean, in the context, it would make not a lot of sense. But, like, you say to me that they can mimic human speech such that it's like a coherent sentence. Also, such that it's the similar language. I mean, at this point, it would probably be a lot of English speakers because it was just in the United States. But, like, and also, like, know the context of what it's saying to effectively throw off the pursuant. And also the effective with its accent.
Yes, this is exactly what I'm saying, Beth. This is what the old legends and folktales have bequeathed unto me.
Okay, so then what did you do?
Well, of course, I went and got a couple barrels of whiskey.
Had some, probably.
Of course, you have to sample your supply.
Also, that's part of the folktale.
Oh, you have to do everything by the book, Beth. Some of these cryptids are very, very persnickety.
Okay, and then what?
Then I, of course, traveled to Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Very boring state, Beth. Not a lot going on there.
Okay, but the jackalope,
I can see why people were chasing after jackalopes and just getting hammered all day. There's really nothing else to do out there.
Yeah, but
Unless you like dirt.
I'm on the edge of my seat. Please tell me.
Well, your chair is very narrow, Beth. You're always on the edge.
Please tell me.
Right. I get to Wyoming. I establish my camp in the middle of the Wyoming bushland. Crack open a barrel of whiskey. Tap into it a little bit for myself, of course, to settle the nerves and alleviate the boredom and misery of being in
Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Yeah. Okay. We have Wyoming listeners. Don't be.
Well, I highly doubt that, Beth. There's not many people there.
Well, they have this podcast as a relief from the boredom as well. Okay.
Oh, my dear Wyoming listeners, I sent you this message. Flee while you still can.
Why do jackalopes stay there?
Because there's nothing else there, Beth. They're very timid creatures.
Oh, okay.
They like the isolation.
So less predators.
Presumably.
Okay. And then What did you do?
Drank some whiskey, put some whiskey out, and then the next thing you do is essentially just wait around.
You're good at that.
I am an expert at waiting around, Beth.
Mm-hmm.
My tuchus, I have buns of steel from the amount of sitting on hard ground I've done.
So what did you bring this time to, for your hobby of waiting?
Whiskey.
Okay. You didn't bring a book. Well, I guess we established you wouldn't.
No.
Did you bring your knitting?
Beth, you of all people know I crochet.
That's right. Sorry, I was talking to somebody else the other day.
But that wasn't a hobby I picked up till the 90s.
Oh, okay. So, whiskey was the hobby.
Yes, and oh my, what a fine hobby it was. You'd be surprised how cheaply you can get 2 barrels of whiskey.
Okay. And then, when did the jackalope show up?
A few days later, Beth, my food supply had long since run out, so I was subsisting entirely on whiskey. I had to kind of scrape the bottom to get any settled sediments to fill my tum-tum a little bit more.
Did you drink all the whiskey for the jackalope too?
You know what, Beth, it's a little fuzzy at times. But eventually, I did notice, I woke from a stupor, and I noticed laying on the ground before me, tummy exposed, and snoring very heavily, a small furry creature with antlers upon its head.
Did you check if it was a papillomavirus?
From my professional opinion and looking, it didn't look gross, so I assumed not.
Okay, great. That's a good start.
Yes. And this is why I decided to check the third property that is renowned of the jackalope.
Which is?
The jackalope milk.
What?
Is said to be an incredibly powerful medicine.
Is that why you were talking about medicinal qualifications
It
earlier?
is like a panacea of sorts, a cure-all for whatever ails you. Specifically, a 3-day whiskey hangover.
I was gonna say, does it work with hangovers?
So, yes, I, of course, got to work attempting to milk a jackalope.
So you got close enough to get it, but you decided not to get it yet.
Well, Beth, let me remind you, 3-day whiskey binge.
So you had a different set of priorities at the time.
A jackhammer in my head. My mouth was dry as a rock. Worst case of cotton mouth I've ever had, Beth. And I've had quite a few.
Okay.
So yes, I was focused on nourishing myself with some jackalope milk, and possibly, if the medicinal properties were to be true, alleviate my pounding headache.
Did it work?
Oh yes, Beth. It was phenomenal. It was, dare I say, the best milk I've ever had.
Was it instant relief?
Oh, near instant, yes.
Was the jackalope still asleep after you kind of cleared up?
Well, I got a few mouthfuls of milk, and at that point, the creature awoke, and it shot me. Even though this creature it's capable of mimicry, I don't believe it has the mental capabilities for conversation. Right? So my prepared questions were kind of irrelevant. But it shot me this look in its eyes, this confusion mixed with what the heck, man. It was
also confusion.
Yes, and then it rabbit kicked me in the nose, breaking it. It was quite the kick.
What questions did you have prepared?
Well, I was going to ask, where are you running so fastly to?
Did you figure that out?
No, after it kicked me in the nose, it fled off in the distance. Again, calling out in a very, cowboy-esque, "It's over there! No, it's over here! No, it's over there!" As it was fleeing.
Which didn't really help because you already kind of knew that trick.
Yes, and it didn't sound anything like me, so I was not fooled.
If it sounded like you, would you be more fooled?
If it was fleeing down through the prairie, yelling, "It's over there! No, the creature is over here! The beast is within my grasp!" Yes, I would have been fooled.
But that's your voice.
Yeah, that's why I trust myself, Beth.
Oh. What? That doesn't make... I mean,
if I can't trust myself, who can I trust? You? Ha!
And then, so what other questions do you have prepared?
Where are you running? What do you eat?
Did you figure that out?
Whiskey.
Yeah. I mean, you said sometimes it stops and grazes. What is it eating? Like grass?
Presumably, it's prairie foliage.
Or like bugs?
Don't want to think about eating bugs, Beth. That's gross.
I don't want to talk to you about what's gross and what's not right now. And then what other... give us one more question you have prepared.
Oh, of course. I was going to ask you the question I ask every creature, which is, what is your opinion on Einstein's theory of relativity?
Did you glean any potential answers for that?
No, I was nursing my broken nose at the time.
Yeah?
Yes.
So did it run away and stop and kind of look back at you and taunt you, or did it just keep running forever and you don't know what happened?
Here's the sequence of events, Beth. 3-day whiskey binge. I awake, passed out in front of me as a jackalope. I immediately pounce upon it to drink some milk. To cure what is ailing me.
That's gross.
It shoots me this weird look.
Fair.
Kicks me in the nose, breaking it.
Fair.
Spray of blood everywhere.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to get gory on the show.
Okay, continue.
But it kicks me. Flees, shouting in cowboy language. I'm nursing my nose. I swear I hear it laugh, and then it vanishes into the distance.
Okay, so you weren't able to kind of track where it went.
No, I was blinded by pain and whiskey.
Did you get a good look at its fur? Did you get to pet it?
While I was milking the creature, I did place my hands upon it. Its fur was not too dissimilar to that of a, I would say, tabby cat.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a jackrabbit.
My experience with jackrabbits is very limited compared to my experience with cats. Very dense fur, multiple layers, very soft, silky.
Do a lot of cats come up to you when you're waiting for cryptids? Is that why?
Cats and cryptids are often very intertwined in one way or another. They're either attracted to the scent of the creature or its nature, or the creature...
Or 3 barrels of whiskey.
Perhaps it has a diet that consists of felines. The cats and cryptids, they're woven together.
Is that a cat? It's the jackalope.
Beth, they found me, Beth. No, I can't do this again.
How's your
My
nose?
nose still hurts.
Yeah.
I've not been able to breathe right since that.
I told you they could do babies crying. I
Oh,
mean, I've
Beth.
never read into it, but I knew it.
Beth, you have some intuition that it has been untapped. Perhaps I've been wrong about you this whole time. Perhaps you do have a future in the profession.
You didn't think that... Okay.
But
Well, how have
you've
you...
been doing admirable, but there were some very serious faults.
Jeez.
You haven't read any of the handbooks, Beth.
We don't need to get into that again.
I just want to reiterate how important they are.
I've read through the 10 to 15 tomes of transcribed interviews that you have with the lizard men. So, like, I'm dedicated to the craft, right? But, like, I have turned over every single place in the RV, and there's no handbook to be found. I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you check under the mattress?
Yes.
Did you check?
Yes.
How about in...
The wheel wells? Yeah.
Well, there's also...
The spare tire, too. Underneath the driver's seat? Yes.
I made them, Beth.
They never came to my eyes.
Am I expected to remake them?
If you really are dedicated to me reading the handbook, then yes. I told you should have not typed them on a freaking typewriter. You should have used a digital file.
It's comfortable. I enjoy the clicky-clacky.
Jeez. I mean, like, yeah, but not for the documents that you deem most important.
Well, I don't trust the internet, Beth.
I don't understand why
The internet is full of viruses. You know what else can have a virus? A hair. You know what that virus does? It makes it grow tumors and warts that make people just think it's a jackrabbit or something.
Are you
Or
sure?
a jackalope.
Are you sure you don't have a tumor in your nose? Because maybe it affected you.
What?
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 Huh?
Beth?
Email us at arthurmansley@gmail.com.
Especially if you're Dr. Beth. You can't do this to me. Drop me this bomb.